The one thing, though, is that Fresh Prince fans the show is really loved. You know, it's not a fake thing.
More than 30 years have passed since the debut of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, whose invigorating style turned the sitcom industry on its head. The show cemented its status as a cultural institution, while simultaneously providing us with laughter and launching the great career of Will Smith. The theme music from the show is still stuck in our heads. However, the ensemble preserved private stories and secrets behind the scenes, despite the celebrity and fun. Now, at the age of 45, Tatyana Ali has unveiled one of the show's most sinister secrets, altering your perception of it irrevocably. Come with us as we reveal mysteries and tales from the shadows that no one has ever known. American television viewers enjoyed the 90s through the 00s on NBC's The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Andy and Susan Borowitz created the show, which featured Will Smith, a West Philadelphia youngster with street smarts. As a result of his involvement with a gang, Will is sent by his mother to be with his affluent aunt and uncle in Bel-Air, Los Angeles. The juxtaposition of the Banks family's privileged way of life with Will's carefree demeanor causes comic conflicts. Their children, the spoiled Hillary, the prim and proper Carlton, and the innocent Ashley make up the Banks family. Uncle Phil is kind and strict, while Aunt Vivian is harsh and fair. The addition of their sardonic butler, Jeffrey, makes things even funnier. Will attempts to blend in with their luxury lifestyle, but his humble origins provide a humorous and new viewpoint on things. The 148 episodes that made up the 6 seasons of the show are often seen as the springboard that Will needed to achieve success in Hollywood. The show's driving forces, Will Smith and James Avery, Uncle Phil, were there in each and every episode. Fans were able to relive happy memories in 2020 when the ensemble got back together for a special on HBO Max. The iconic plot was also given a new spin in 2022 with the debut of Bel-Air, a more serious remake of the show. Will left his humble beginnings in West Philadelphia for the bright lights of Bel-Air to star in a lifestyle show, and the memorable theme song from the show has stuck with fans ever since. Will Smith's transformation into the Fresh Prince begs the question, how? Although he appeared to be living large after landing the main part in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith actually had some major money issues going on at the time. Will Smith was a well-known rapper before he became known as Fresh Prince. Their album He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper achieved triple platinum and was nominated for a Grammy, co-written by DJ Jazzy Jeff. The cost of achievement, however, was substantial. Will said in a 2018 YouTube Storytime episode that he lived lavishly on designer clothing and exotic cars, carelessly enjoying the benefits of celebrity without considering the repercussions. But there was a major hitch. Will neglected to pay his taxes. He had a colossal outstanding tax debt of $2.8 million when the Internal Revenue Service finally showed up. Plus, his subsequent album bombed, leaving him penniless all of a sudden. Because of the dismal sales, Will even made the joke that it went double plastic. This left him with almost little cash and a mound of debt. His bank account balance dropped to $5 briefly. Nearly all of his possessions were seized by the IRS as a result of the severity of his situation. The story of how Will borrowed $10,000 from a buddy to scrape by was told in 2007 during an interview with 60 Minutes. The meeting with the Fresh Prince producer Benny Medina, however, was a stroke of luck that led to the legendary part that would alter the course of his life. The Internal Revenue Service continued to withhold 70% of the Fresh Prince's salary for the subsequent 3 years. Even though Will became famous because of the show, he had a very difficult time getting to where he is now financially. Prolonged conflict with Will Smith. On screen, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was all smiles and fun, but behind the scenes, tensions ran high, particularly between Will Smith and Janet Hubert, who played Aunt Vivian from 1990 to 1993. Daphne Maxwell Reid succeeded Hubert after 3 seasons as the show's strong, nurturing mother figure. The mystery surrounding her leaving left fans bewildered, and years later Hubert hinted that she believed Smith's influence had a role in her decision to leave. During an interview with TMZ in 2011, Hubert was very forthright in his criticism of Smith, describing her as an egomaniac and asserting that she would never participate in a reunion with him. Hubert revealed that Smith had turned down her request for assistance in negotiating improved contracts for the actors and herself, adding fuel to the fire of their evident animosity. The treachery just made her feel worse. However, Janet Hubert's animosity with Will Smith persisted for decades after she left The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Hubert made it clear that she thought Smith had an impact on decisions that involved her position. Jet interviewed her in 1993 and she remarked, "He has a lot of clout. It's too bad that it's a black-on-black attack." She blamed Will for her dismissal and didn't mince words when she criticized him. She went to extreme lengths, accusing him of plotting her professional demise. Conversely, Will also did not remain mute. He further inflamed their feud during a radio interview by implying that Hubert wanted the show to center on her. He boldly declared, "No matter what to her, I'm just the Antichrist." Hubert never held back from discussing Smith and Alfonso Ribeiro, who portrayed Carlton Banks in subsequent years. When she spoke with TMZ in 2009, she claimed the two actors were responsible for her career-ending falsehoods because they publicized false information about her actions during filming. Despite the fact that this rivalry lasted for decades, Will showed some respect. The performers clearly had deep feelings for each other for a long time. In a 2016 interview with BBC Radio 1 Extra, Will referred to Hubert as brilliant and a really powerful artist. Whether or not it helped restore their relationship is unclear. In 2020, during a reunion broadcast on HBO, the two shockingly reconciled. Hubert revealed her difficulties after giving birth during their emotional chat. Her home life was challenging and her husband was unemployed. Smith came clean about his insensitivity to Hubert's pain and said that he was aware of how much of a burden he was on the set. After years of animosity, they were finally able to put the past in the past with this long-awaited resolution. They have one of the most enduring feuds in Hollywood history, the real-life conflict between Carlton and TV mom. It appeared that Janet Hubert's problems with her on-screen son Carlton, played by Alfonso Ribeiro, were even more significant than her well-known ones with Will Smith. Ribeiro was quite blunt when he spoke about her, and the two of them didn't get along behind the scenes. Although he acknowledged he wasn't permitted to discuss much of it, Alfonso referred to Hubert as insane and said she went nuts during her time on the show in a 2009 stand-up comedy performance. According to Alfonso, her conduct had escalated to the point where it was causing problems on set by the second season. According to him, there were days when we were all on set and she would literally go off on people. The rest of the actors eventually came to find her attitude intolerable, and it caused tension. Because of this, it's easy to see why Hubert blamed Ribeiro and Will Smith for ruining her career with their malicious rumors. We will probably never know the whole truth because the show aired before cell phones and text receipts. Alfonso nearly lost his job. After the pilot, it's difficult to see The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air without Carlton Banks, played by Alfonso Ribeiro. His eccentric dancing style, prim attire, and endearingly geeky persona left an indelible impression. Surprisingly, though, Ribeiro was on the verge of being cut from the show after the first episode. Alfonso revealed in an interview with Digital Spy from 2017 that producers considered recasting Carlton after filming the pilot. This suggests that the idea of having someone else play the iconic part was seriously considered. Thankfully, Ribeiro was able to continue playing Carlton once the producers reconsidered. Funny as it may sound, he reflected, there was a moment where essentially I was hired and rehired. Keeping Ribeiro on board was a wise choice, since his portrayal of Carlton is legendary. We can all agree that he was the only one who could have pulled off those V-neck sweaters and bow ties. Karyn Parsons' initial thoughts on the new prince. Hilary Banks, the spoiled but endearing sister, is an indelible part of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Karyn Parsons, who played her, was actually on the verge of turning down the part, in case you were wondering. Actually, she first had zero interest in the program. Karyn admitted in an interview with NPR in 2014 that she wasn't impressed with the show at first. Who would want to watch a sitcom starring a rapper? She wondered to herself. She was employed as a restaurant hostess in Hollywood during that period, and the prospect of trying out for a program hosted by a rapper simply didn't pique her interest. Furthermore, Parsons is not the original cast member intended to play Hillary. Initially, Karyn thought that the role of Hillary did not fit with her sense of self because she was supposed to be a super cool model. She said she wasn't a model type, so she thought it was silly to even try out. However, Karyn's bratty attitude toward Hillary at the audition, rather than her attempts to pretend, was the deciding factor in her casting. As the saying goes, the rest is history. Until The Fresh Prince became a smash hit, she kept her day job. In hindsight, it's difficult to fathom another actor or actress bringing Hillary's charisma and humor to the role. The subtle anguish beneath those beloved scenes. Fans of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air may recall the running joke about the Banks family throwing out May's best pal Jazz from their house. DJ Jazzy Jeff, the actor and rapper who portrayed Jazz, had a less than stellar experience with it, but fans still find it funny. A lot of suffering went into those scenes. The story that Jazz's eviction from the house was staged more than once in an effort to save costs has persisted for quite some time, but it is not totally accurate. The scene was filmed many times, according to DJ Jazzy Jeff, who told HuffPost in 2015 that the only thing stopping the endless takes was the physical toll it took on him, not the budget. Every time you shoot it to get a take, you probably have to do it about 40 times, said the photographer. By the time they said, "We got it," I was black and blue. The pain grew intolerable after multiple takes, so he had to refuse to continue. Admitting, "I'm not a stuntman," he went on to affirm. While the scene played out humorously on film, the reality behind the scenes was quite different. The embarrassing moment on set that Tatyana Ali had. Even Tatyana Ali, who played the lovely and naive Ashley Banks, had some embarrassing moments in The Fresh Prince. Actually, she had one of her most humiliating moments on set. She kissed for the first time in front of an audience. Tatyana opened up about how horrifying her first kiss was in an interview with US Weekly in 2018. She said that her on-screen siblings, Alfonso Ribeiro, Carlton, and Karyn Parsons, Hillary, decided to quietly observe from the sidelines. As she laughed, she recalled only Karyn and Alfonso positioned behind the cameras. "I mean, who has a first kiss like that?" The enormous comedy cameras added an extra layer of anxiety to the already nerve-wracking experience of sharing a first kiss on set. Tatyana said, "I wanted to die." She has later revealed that she finds amusement in the incident, despite the fact that it was a memorable experience. She joked about her one-night stands and bread pudding in an interview she gave to HuffPost in 2013, so clearly she has moved past that embarrassing recollection. Since her days on The Fresh Prince began, she has obviously been able to accept and even celebrate life's lighter moments. A non-traditional analysis, unconventional auditions and behind-the-scenes antics molded Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The self-assured actor that is Will Smith now wasn't always like that. He had little experience acting or understanding dialogue when he began working on The Fresh Prince. The fear of forgetting his lines was so great that he memorized every line, not just his own. Hillary Banks's on-screen counterpart, Karyn Parsons, reportedly told a humorous anecdote about Smith's first days in the industry. Even more nerve-wracking than the prospect of filming itself was the thought of Will secretly mouthing her words as she delivered them. In an effort to commit all of the lines to memory, Smith later confessed that he had done this throughout filming and rehearsals. Even though it was an odd tactic, it worked for him. In the first episodes, you can see him mouthing the lines of other characters, demonstrating how well he remembered their lines. If you look closely, Smith's commitment to memorizing his lines paid good, but seeing him silently repeat their lines must have been uncomfortable for his co-stars. Regarding confidential matters, Carlton Banks is likely associated with his signature preppy look, a necktie, button-down shirts, and of course, his signature dance moves. But Alfonso Ribeiro, who played Carlton, wore something out of the ordinary to the audition. Really, Ribeiro wore a tracksuit to the audition. At the Fresh Prince reunion many years later, he made a joke about how perplexing it was that he had even considered wearing a tracksuit while playing the part of a rich, preppy adolescent. Seeing the old audition tape made him question his own sanity. Ribeiro earned the part that would go on to become one of his most famous performances, even though he wore an odd outfit. Fans of the show still remember Ribeiro's Carlton and his memorable dance to "It's Not Unusual" by Tom Jones. His now famous preppy style almost began with something completely different, which is funny to think about. Culture of African descent is not uniform. An innovative and groundbreaking aspect of The Fresh Prince was the way it presented a black family. Despite their affluence and status, the Banks family defied the typical TV stereotypes. The fact that no two people were identical was, however, what truly distinguished them. Despite sharing similar circumstances, each character gave their own unique perspective to the story, demonstrating that black culture couldn't be standardized. Despite the writer's attempts to transform Hilary Banks into a powerful black woman, Karyn Parsons, who performed the role, recalled a time when she fought against the idea, believing that not all characters needed to be like that. In her view, Hilary's unique viewpoint and imperfections were equally important. "You can also gain a lot of knowledge from them," she said. Because of this choice, Hilary was able to keep being herself, even though she didn't fit everyone's expectations. By subverting these assumptions and addressing serious issues through comedy, the show maintained a consistent tone. DJ Jazzy Jeff spoke about a sequence in which his character refused to lower his hands in the presence of a white bailiff brandishing a firearm. The sequence may have been humorous at first glance, but it dealt with a serious issue that many black males endure. In another impactful episode, the cops stopped Will and Carlton, which gave Carlton a brutal glimpse into the way certain officers handle black guys. Will Smith elaborated on how, despite the show's comedic veneer, it imparted profoundly meaningful messages. The actors themselves were involved in maintaining the show's authenticity. As an example, the second Aunt Vivian, Daphne Maxwell Reid, quipped that if Tatyana Ali were to say that line to her father in real life, he would get his teeth punched out. This was in response to her telling the authors that the remark wouldn't fly in a real black household. A masterclass in life and acting, James Avery. James Avery, who portrayed the adored Uncle Phil, was the beating heart of the entire cast, and, by extension, the Banks family. In actuality, he had an indelible effect on all of his co-workers. Even though Avery died in 2013, his co-stars are still grieving his loss. "What we do is not for us, it's not about us. We are here to bring dignity, to represent, to expand, to push forward," Tatyana Ali, who played Ashley, said, describing what she learned from working with Avery. Will Smith also mentioned Avery's impact, stating that Avery exerted tremendous pressure on him. Since Avery and Will were in a special position as black performers, he felt obligated to assist Will in developing his profession. He confided in Will, saying, "You have to represent, and you are paving the way." When Will's character collapses in the face of his father's repeated abandonment, Avery's lessons are front and center in one of the most moving episodes of The Fresh Prince. Avery gently advised Will to utilize him, telling him to dig into the genuine feelings lurking underneath the scenes after he flunked his lines the first time. An iconic character on and off film, Avery embraced Will after his stunning performance and said, "Now that's acting." Avery was also a beloved father and an inspiration to everyone around him. Not only was he instructing them in proper behavior, but he was also modeling a life of meaning for them to follow. Behind the scenes of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the cast dealt with their own issues, such as the long-running animosity between Will Smith and Janet Hubert, and Alfonso Ribeiro's unexpected tracksuit audition, even though the program was about family and pleasure. Many stories went untold, leaving admirers in the dark. Even if the show made millions of people laugh, the creators still had to overcome personal obstacles, as these moments reveal. These behind-the-scenes stories simply add to the enduring legacy of The Fresh Prince, which is already a cultural institution today. Out of all the characters on the program, who do you like the most and why? If you like this story and would like to see more like it, subscribe and turn on notifications. Please let us know in the comments.